Yeah. So we're starting the show off. Wahab, is it 8 a.m.? We're literally talking about right now. If it's 8 a.m. where you are, let us know about that. But here we go. Zion Williamson might possibly be in the best shape of his NBA career. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Spencer Rattler. Derek Carr's currently on the TV, which I'm sure you like that, Lito. Yeah, let's do it. Smash the like button. Let's go.
Took away. After this, get your money's worth now.
Presenting you by the Scott Vicknair Injury Law Firm. Have you been injured in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, hurt offshore? Scott Vicknair handles it all. Give them a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. Yes, a free consultation. They always fight for the win, and powered by 4D.
Yep.
4D Energy.
Yep.
Make sure you get some power here. Ross, Lito, Chris. Yeah, what you got?
Those shits taste good too.
They do. Yeah, shout out 4D.
I gotta get one.
Chris, overall thoughts here on Derek Carr's first drive? Or 2 drives, right? He had 2 drives.
Yeah, he did.
How'd it go?
You know, late throws, almost getting his wide receivers decapitated. Like, it just, but
So
the drive in itself, well, yeah, I mean, they were able to run the ball. That was fun. Like, Taysom Hill was fun. Coordinator was fun. I mean, that they scored a touchdown. But
was Taysom Hill fun on the line there, or is that?
I hadn't watched. I didn't watch any of the first game, and until I walked in the building, didn't see any of this one either. But I did get a text that said, "Is this what a competent offensive coordinator does?" So I assumed that meant that we had a decent drive at some point.
I guess 95 yards.
96 yards. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, 95 yards. So
then yes.
Appreciate everyone here on Sunday night. So we're talking about Zion Williamson. And there have been, I guess he had his camp over the weekend, and obviously pictures have surfaced on social media. And this is currently what Zion Williamson looks like. Lito, we'll start with you. He looks completely different. If we're literally talking about from what he looks like from the top to the bottom there, pause. I caught it. Pause. Caught that one too. This is hard to deal with here. I mean, do you think, we've heard reports, and we're gonna talk about what we've heard, Lito, but it looks to be like he's in the best shape he's been in since becoming a New Orleans Pelican.
I know we're gonna talk about how he got here, but I just want to say before we even get on his physical appearance, I want to say shout out to him for having a camp and not charging any of the kids.
Good on him.
I'm glad you said.
I didn't know that.
Can you speak on that a little bit? Because there's a clip of that. Good point.
He had a conversation. I forgot the name of the other guy who's running the camp. Shout out to him too. But they were gonna charge $100 to $200 per kid for the camp, and then they basically just were like, "Yeah, fuck it, man. Like, let's just let everybody come for free and have a good time." That's crazy, but. but
nah, bro. Like, god damn.
I mean, this early on.
I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh. Fucking love you, man.
And we got to get somebody else because that Sharon a freaky ass coach. We got to do something else now. But anyways, man, like for real, dog, because I hate to see. Bro, you 200 million up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to see when people have camps and they charging, like median income families like $200 to send a kid there for 3 days.
Right.
They not go. No disrespect to the camp, but you're not gonna learn shit that's life altering in 3 days.
Right.
Nothing is gonna happen in that. I before we get into the physical makeup, I just want to say shout out to him for that. But in the same breath, yo, he. This is the best he has ever looked at the New Orleans Pelican.
Yeah.
I'm glad it happened in year 6. We're in a blackout right now, but don't trip. Ross still white, I'm still black. So don't worry about that.
Accurate.
You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Jackson said, either you black, you know what I'm saying? Black or white. Even in the blackout, we still who he is. Yeah.
Unchanged.
Come on.
Unchanged.
It's like
okay.
Yeah,
we could just keep the show like all right, because
I
thought we was gonna keep the blackout, but I mean that's
I was spitting bars.
He was out here making sense, and he was out here making dollars.
Come on, man.
We had Ross ad-libbing. What's happening here?
That was the gravitational pull of our charisma. That's what that was. That's why the camera went out. Shout out to us.
Didn't need it.
Man, look, this is the best he's ever looked as a New Orleans Pelican, and it's year 6. But from what I understand, per his dad, he's gonna come into the season weighing less than he did at Duke. Right? Everybody been asking for Duke Zion. It looked like this is what you're about to get.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring up there, Lito. So before we get to Ross and Chris's thoughts, Lito, we've heard that. Also, you guys shout out, we shouted out, his stepdad and the camp. Like, also shout out Amy Atmore, who we've been told has been going there now, visiting Dallas where Zion is in the off season. Has been visiting him almost weekly, making sure that he's eating right, he's training right, and he looks to be in best physical shape he's been in since in New Orleans. So shout out to Amy and the performance team that making sure that he's taking this offseason seriously. And Ross, we've been hearing this now for like a month or two, like where we're like, look, we're hearing great things about Zion, but it's all hearsay bullshit. And then all of a sudden you see this and you're like, okay, maybe he is taking this offseason seriously. Maybe he's sick and tired of coming into the regular season overweight and getting hurt and this and that. And I think that his stepdad has put some pressure on the Pelicans organization. Like, look, we need to get this guy right. And it starts now in the offseason. So clearly they're changing something.
I kind of hate you just said that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's great that. So I'm happy about the fact that mentally, physically, he looks, and it seems like things are in a totally different spot than they've been in previous off seasons. But you got to remember the bar was so low. Like there were instances in previous off seasons where they didn't even know where Zion was, couldn't get in touch with him. Like this isn't just me making things up. Like these are facts. Like they didn't know where he was. So like there's a lot of strides that have been made in the last 3 years, last year. I think a lot of those are Zion maturing, like growing up, wanting more from his career, wanting more from himself. And the team has done a good job. Like, so kudos to, everybody seems like they're doing their part. I'm always a little hesitant to cheer stuff like this because it's like cheering yourself for waking up and making the bed. Like, you're just supposed to do that. Like, brush your teeth in the morning. So I don't want to go like too overboard with an NBA player making, just an absurd amount of money showing up in shape. But I am happy that it seems like he's grown up. He wants something more from his career. It seems like he wants to be better this year. And coming into shape, coming into camp in shape, and coming into the season ready to go, I think, could elevate his career.
Yeah. And Chris, also, we've also heard like I feel like they're starting to surround Zion with the right people. Right. And, whether it be, getting the Amy Atmores in or, removing some people, I feel like he finally has a camp that wants the best for him. And I feel like, as to Ross's point, like he's supposed to show up shape. He's a professional athlete. We've been talking about this, but still it's good to see. It's good to see that he's actually taking this seriously. He looks good. Like, it's crazy to talk about, but Lito, at this point, like you need to see the change. And Chris, I think we're starting to see the change.
I'm still not there yet, but I'm happy that it's
why are you still not there? Why are you hesitant? Like, why are you not there?
Because it's more so about consistency. You like you know what I'm saying? And you need to see the consistency over a season. You need to see it, build, happen from year to year. You need to see it when he gets hurt, right? And he misses some time and he's, he has a couple weeks off. And those bad habits really start to creep back in again. Like right now, I'm not going to downplay it as it's not important, but with Zion, just like anybody else, man, just like with me, with like you, it's about consistency. And to be honest, like, I'd argue that the way he came into media day or into the season a couple years ago was a little bit better shape than what he's in now. But the most important part, I think, of this is that one of the other things, and I think Five said in the chat earlier, that they have a goal that his stepdad, they typically don't talk about his weight, They
Right.
they don't talk about numbers. Shout out to I believe it was Timeout Sports who's been covering the camp out there. They mentioned that his stepdad said that the goal, he's about at 284 or 280 something right now, and the goal is to have him, there you go, at 272 by the time the season starts. Now that's impressive because that will ultimately be the best shape, or would be the best shape that he's ever been in, probably as a Pelican. So with Zion, it's not just the physical, it's the mental as well. And he seems ultimately to just be in a great place right now. He's healthy. He has something to build off of. And what you mentioned about some of the, the people that are around him now, like some trust it seemed to be kind of built here with the right people. And that's important with any superstar, but it's essential with someone that I think is as fragile as sometimes that Zion appears to be.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, go ahead, Lito.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
I've read the statement. I heard what his stepdad said, but seeing those words on the screen that he's currently 281 pounds. I didn't realize that Dookie was that heavy. He didn't look.
But he didn't look heavy.
But this is my point. So that means he was definitely 290 to
he was playing over 300.
300
Dude,
pounds.
he was like
He was over 300.
He was playing at 310, guy.
Yeah,
Like
he-
let's call it space. Oh, I'm not saying like last year, but like a couple of years he was at like 315, 320.
Well, I'm saying that's crazy though.
What's interesting about what you just said, because I was talking with some other people about, obviously this tweet sort of got out there and went viral to a certain degree. So a lot of folks have seen it and had questions. And I had some buddies who follow the team real close say, like, do you think it actually affects him, his style of play negatively if he goes, let's just assume last year he was playing at 290 something and now he plays at 270. They were like, does that change? Because it ain't shooting. Right. Like, and my answer to that was unequivocally no, because if he was already first off the ground, now he's definitely gonna be first off the ground.
What's the most important about Zion Williamson that we don't talk about? His second jump.
His second jump. That's
the second
and
jump.
so it's not that it's gonna affect, like, I don't think it affects his style of play because his build is the same and where he carries that weight is different, but he's still so broad through his shoulders that it's not gonna affect him finishing around the rim. He's not going to get any more shots tipped or something than he normally would. It was an interesting question though, because of his style of play being so physically demanding and him using that weight. But I think if anything, it's obviously going to help a ton. He's going to be way quicker. That second jump is already unbelievable, otherworldly. It's going to be even better. But it was just interesting to think about, like.
But it's another thing that we talked about too, Chris, in the season. We're just like, he's playing 4, 5, 6 minute spurts. Like now I think that dude can go play 8, 9, 10 minute spurts, maybe even an entire quarter early on in the year. Right. And the one thing I wanted to mention, Chris, you talked about when Zion, whatever it was, 2 years ago, he showed up in shape. Right. I think when I took the picture and like it's Zion and CJ and then like Griffin's behind, all that stuff. The funny part about that story is like he got in shape like in 3 weeks. He didn't, like, in the off season, like there's a lot of shit like a lot of people don't know. Like I'm glad we like talk about it now. Like he was like out of shape the entire summer, and then like the last 3 weeks, like, all right, let me get serious. This is 2.5 months from media day. Yep. So imagine if he keeps this up, this work ethic, this consistency. I'm gonna be ready now, because the training in the off season is different too. When you're in shape and you're training, you develop good habits. Yeah. And I think now, because like historically, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Maybe Buku's that guy, can look it up, but like he doesn't get off to great starts in the first part of the season.
And look, I always compare him to Shaq in this, but in a negative. Well, there's some positive comparisons, but from this sense of, I remember when Shaq got older, and Shaq would battle injuries or he would be enjoying his offseason, he'd always say that I don't need to, I'm going to enjoy my summer. And I'll use the season to play myself into shape. But by that period of time, Shaq had already won. He was already elite. He had already, for the most part, been on the floor, and he had won championships, right? So whether it was right or not, we know who it frustrated. But whether or not it was right, he, in his mind, he was entitled. And there were folks that would say, all right, he's earned that with the beating he takes throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? The non-fall. And for Zion, you could argue it's similar. He's going to take a lot of fouls. He's going to spend a lot of time on the ground. He's going to take a heavy toll. So I could see someone like him saying, I'm going to rest my body. I'm going to such and such. But I agree with you that, it does say something when we're talking about this in August, right? When we're talking in early to mid-August, okay, this is the shape that he's in. This is what he's doing now, because at the end of the day, he hasn't proved it. Yeah, he hasn't proven anything yet. We have not seen him in a playoff game, which is crazy. We still have not seen him in a playoff game. He has not won anything yet to have this kind of, to dating back to Ross's point about, he is an athlete. Like we shouldn't be celebrating this necessarily. But for him, I'm hoping that this is him turning a corner mentally and physically to where it just gets better and better from here in how he treats his off season and just time off, period.
Yo, he got two. If 272 is the goal, he got to be under 270, dog. I'm
But
sorry.
we've been talking about this all year. Like we've been talking about this for years of like his projected weight, where he needs to play at, where he needs to be successful at. And if he's actually going to get to that 270, if he's already at 281,
Oh, that's not good. You're talking about 82 games of him with lower extremity injuries, a person who plays with above the rim. If you like that type of explosiveness that he has, I say this all the time.
that's actually a good point. But like this, if he's actually in shape,
But they said, I mean, and I'm just pushing back a little bit because and I know body types matter and all that stuff, but they used to say LeBron played at like 275.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's taller and he was a little leaner, but when
LeBron never looks fat.
No, he never looked fat. But
but
when he was playing it, it seemed like the number they used to throw around was 270, 275. Like he was above the rim, way above the rim.
I'm gonna trust the dude.
Stuff.
I'm gonna trust the dude as disciplined as he is.
Right.
Dude.
No, I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. And the point for me is like Brian never had an injury.
He's never been injured.
He's never been injured. So like if you literally just ended your season because you had to kick this shit in the overdrive because the team was trash. You was trying to win the game yourself. You overextended yourself and you got hurt. Right? If going into the season, let's say he was in better shape and he didn't have to work himself into whatever it is that he had, whatever weight he had to work himself into, like, bro, you only got so many jumps and you only got so many jumps.
And you obviously know that very well. You only have so many jumps.
Yes.
And yes, I'm sorry to bring up bad memories, but like,
I'm telling you from experience, like you only have so many jumps. Like once that shit goes, and the Chris's point with Shaq, like at the end of the day, if Shaq wasn't even athletic anymore, he was still 7'1".
Yeah, Shaq was a problem. Shaq was a problem. All right. So, okay, back to, because I thought Zion in this interview, shout out to 140 people during a Saints game. Y'all for real, y'all the best, man. Like, make sure to smash the like button, hit the bell notification. Let you know we're going live. We go live every Sunday night. So look, we're talking about the picture and how he looks. I thought Zion said some very interesting things in this short little interview here from shout out Timeout Sports on Twitter, or I'm sorry, X. Make sure you give him a follow as well, because he did a great job covering this camp. I'm gonna bring this first clip up, Chris. I'll go Chris, Ross, and Ludo, because a kid asked, "Who's your favorite teammate?" This was Zion Williamson's answer. Favorite teammates?
He said,
CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I think both names that he picked are self-explanatory. I mean we've all heard similar things about how Trey just simply is with everybody. But there was a period of time, I think dating back to, it was either a year ago or 2 years ago. It was like somebody told me, it's like, all right, Zion doesn't really have any friends on the team, but if he does, if it's anywhere close, Trey Murphy's it. And then the CJ McCollum, I think, relationship started to build. I assume that CJ being that vet, giving him a little bit of like tough love, but also kind of trying to show him the way as the vet, was really important. And the reason you're asking this question is because arguably the second best player on the team is the person that he did not name, and he had two choices. He could have said CJ and BI. He could have said Trey and B, but he didn't. Right. So what it means is that it further goes into what we have all talked about, what we have been mentioning from a while in regards to just it being a disconnect between those two individuals. Doesn't mean that they hate each other necessarily. Before the swiftness of a response and a smile in regards to naming Trey and CJ, it tells, I would say a lot in regards to how those two guys have been important in helping him during this stretch, but also something that's missing with the person that was supposed to be a co-star or his co-star over the past few years.
Ross, what are your thoughts on those comments?
Indifferent. Like I think this is just like much ado about absolutely nothing. Like he's got to answer the question. He's not going to list every teammate. Like it would be like if somebody asked me, "Hey, who's your favorite personal propels talk?" And I said, "Lito." That don't mean I don't like you. But
you're thinking about Lito.
Yeah, I think Chris just made the point exactly. Like it says more about his relationship with Trey Murphy, who's his exact age. I think their birthday's like 8 days apart or something. Like person that's literally probably the closest person to him from a media perspective. Trey's got a great personality. They're the same exact age. Their like styles of basketball in theory are complementary. And CJ, who's like the adult, probably in some way quietly is somewhat of a mentor, trying to help, things like that. Like, I just don't read into stuff like this. One, just because I've gone to a shitload of games and I just know him, and like I can see the way that people interact on the bench. I can see the way they interact and warm up. Like I didn't, I don't. I've been on competitive sports teams. Like the two best players aren't always best friends. Like or the two guys that are supposed to be the best or whatever. To me, this is just I don't care. Like I don't think it's anything.
Okay.
He doesn't give a baker's fuck.
A baker's fuck. There you go. A baker's fuck.
Yeah, early in the show.
You have any thoughts on the comments?
I mean, I like to hear that. That's especially, everybody on the show has complained about Zion's minutes with Trey on the floor and vice versa. So it's good to hear that because they basically are an instrument. You know what I'm saying? Like you would use them one and the same. The thing with CJ, also he's a tenable with Zion's skill, and vice versa. Zion makes the game easier for everybody. Brandon, look, they don't fit together as teammates. There's nothing wrong with that. They don't have to be friends, but the bigger picture is their game just does not work together. So maybe there's a disconnect there. Like Brandon is an ISO player. He doesn't necessarily need Zion to get his. Zion would probably do better making friends with shooters.
Right.
People who can like occupy that kind of gravity so it can make it, you know what I'm saying? Like I can see that. It just makes sense. And shout out to Booker Media stat guy in the comments who said that Trey was the first person to reach out to Eves Missy. I'm gonna say this, and I want to go to Chris. So like Five has done a shit ton more media than I did. But like the games that I went to when I was media, Trey was the first person out of the tunnel every time. And he was the only person to come and shake every media member's hand.
That was going to be my follow-up, was like, how many guys on the current roster would say, "Hey, give us your two favorite teammates on the team"? How many of them, one of those players would be Trey? It's probably like a 9 or 10 of your current roster.
Yeah. Likable dude.
Yeah, like he's personable. He's out there smiling. Like he's got personality. Like not in a fraudulent way.
Yeah, no.
Either. Like it just seems like he's genuinely kind of that person. So it's not. I guess that for me is why, I don't. It's cool that he said that, but I don't think it's like a diss to anybody else on the team.
So look, we got a couple more comments from Zion's camp to talk about, but Saints about to hit halftime. Roscoe wants to come on for 5-10 minutes, talk some Saints football just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Bring him on.
Where Chris is going to come on here in a second. So if y'all got Saints stuff, y'all want to talk Saints shit, I'm sure he'll have a lot to say about Derek Carr and Jamal Williams and all that good stuff. But Chris Roscoe does straight up Saints. What?
The enemy guy?
Yeah. I mean, gosh. The straight up, he's going to go live right after the Saints game. So when we're done, he's going to go live, recap the Saints 49ers preseason game. Let me get to one more comment. Chris, I like the comment. I'm glad he said it, but I'll play it.
Season is about 2 months away. What's one goal you got for yourself and the team this year?
I want to win it all.
Win it all.
I'd be lying if I said anything else. I want my team and myself to win it all.
I think
Completely different.
He what?
He doesn't even look-
He looks totally different.
I don't even know who that is.
He looks totally different.
That look like Zion Williamson. I don't have no idea who the hell that is.
Dion.
Chris, I mean, like,
Dion.
obviously, of course he's going to say that, but you still like to hear it. You still like to hear it. Like, I feel like he means it. I really do. I feel like he means it.
I would have liked the question better if they said, if the follow would have been, okay, can you win a championship without a center?
Oh,
Like I want to, I would have been curious.
What if he is the center?
We just did it. We just talked about this. We literally just talked about this on the show we did earlier in the week. As people said, there's no way he's gonna play. There's no way he's gonna play center. I'm telling y'all, at some point, he is, even if he's not listed at center, there is going to be a small ball lineup in like starting five where Zion is out there. Like it's at the 5-4, whoever you want to plug in, but it's going. They're gonna do it at some point. I don't know when, but it's gonna happen.
whoever you want to plug in is crazy.
There's very few people that I would say this about.
Gotta
I
be
wish he had given a personal goal instead of a team. Like I don't need to hear the generic. Like we want to win. Like we're trying to win it all. Yeah, sure, that's great. I wish he had said, playoff run, and I want to be the MVP of the league. Or like, I mean, that may be a stretch far, or I want to play in every game this year. I wish he had given us some glimpse of like where he is personally, as opposed to just that was kind of a.
It just never sat. It just never sat. All right, Lyle, let's bring in Chris. Let's bring Chris Rosglou. Yeah, the whole layout thing is it's tough. There we go. Chris, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
Chris, the host of Straight Up States. Make sure you follow him at Rosglou Report on X. Does an awesome job covering the Saints. All right, Chris. So this is your time to shine. You got about shout out Scott Vicknair, 5-10 minutes. I'm sure you got a lot of thoughts on Jamal Williams. I know Lito's got a lot of questions for you. Dude, do you want to ask Chris a question?
Why does Derek Carr stink so bad?
Look, I don't know. Look, I'm not going to get myself in trouble, but
I'm sorry.
every practice we hear how good he is in practice, and then the game come on, and it's like everything's late. Now I want to give him credit. They had that 95, 96-yard touchdown drive, so like I want to give credit to that, although that was primarily running the football. But it's just crazy. They look so late on everything, and yeah, look, they'll have Alvin for the games. That should help a little bit, but that's not going to solve everything. And I think Shaheed might miss a little bit more time than us fans hope he doesn't. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. I haven't seen enough from the offense to be encouraged, but at least the O-line wasn't terrible today. So I guess thumbs up on that. That would be the positive if I'm going to try to have a little bit of optimism today. And Taysom balled out. So I'll take that. That's something they can lean on. But Derek Carr, I can't answer that one. I think it's just going to be more of the same. It kind of looks like what we saw last year.
Chris, Chris Connor, do you want to ask the question? It looked like you were.
Is Derek Carr the Brandon Ingram of the Saints?
Oh,
that's a good question. You know what? I'm gonna say no for one reason. I feel like, and I could be wrong. You guys have had moments though where like BI, either people loved him a ton or you felt like he could hit that next level. For Derek Carr, like after like 2 weeks of Saints games, you're like, it's just not going to happen. And I'm not even trying to diss the guy because like he had a season where he looked like an MVP, but it was 2016 and that was with the Raiders. So like us Saints fans can't count it. But it is interesting. I would say for you guys, because I'll flip it to you guys. Where are you guys at with like Brandon Ingram though? Is it at the point where you guys want to flip? I know you guys talk about him a ton, but
I think Ross is the perfect guy to answer this question.
How would you put that on me? Yeah, no, we're not in a good spot. I would say we're in a worse spot with Brandon than Saints fans are with Carr, and that's
really no way. No, I totally disagree with you there. I think people like really despise Derek Carr. Like, look, like
Yeah,
it's not even close. I don't think.
I think, and look, that's fair. I don't think Carr's all that great, but I do think he gets shit on too much. Like, I don't think he's as bad as the noise you hear makes him seem. Like, there's way worse quarterbacks, in my opinion, like way worse.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I don't know. Like, I don't think, some of the stuff, and I guess that's kind of leads into the question I wanted to ask was, I didn't see any of the first game. I've seen just a little bit of this one. Like, what's the biggest difference you've noticed between Carmichael and what Kubiak is doing? Like, is there, like, what should we be looking for, if anything?
I'd say today we saw the difference. Last week, I didn't see that much of a difference to make me excited. The second drive today, where they actually, not second drive, excuse me, third drive, the long drive that they had, the touchdown scoring one, that was the first time you saw intent from an offensive coordinator. And it seems, and I know it's just one drive, if their MO is going to be to run the football and take all the pressure off of Derek Carr, they opened up a lot of running lanes, and that's going to go down to the scheme, and that's going to make life easier for guys like Trevor Penning, who we haven't heard a lot from today, which is always a good thing. Last week was a lot of negative. So I would say that's the big difference. For Pete Carmichael, it felt like you'd have, every reporter ask him, are you going to use motion? Are you going to use play action? And then he'd be like, oh, that's a good idea. We should do that next week. I just don't think we're going to see that with Kubiak. I think he knows they should run the football and then build the pass out of, off of that, use a little play action and motion pre-snap. But I think that's the big thing, having an idea, an actual identity, and Taysom Hill is going to be a part of it. Alvin's definitely going to be a huge part of it when he comes back. So there's something you can at least hang your hat on with this offense. It may not work if the O-line's getting obliterated in the run game, but if they are able to crank some, running lanes out, I think they can at least be decent at running the football. And then that's what would be different. Last year was nothing. There were games where I didn't know what they were trying to establish. At least here, I could tell you they're going to try to run the football well.
Chris, I do have a comparison when you ask about Brandon Ingram, and shout out to Chris Conner too. Not really, but the thing with Brandon and the thing with Derek Carr is literally the money, right? People have a problem with paying BI $50 million per season. He's a good player, right? He's not the problem. The money is the problem. I feel like, in my opinion, the same thing is for Derek Carr. When you look at the $100 million he's giving you versus the production, and it's crazy because me and Chris Conner did a show last week where we looked at his stats from last year, and they weren't terrible. But when I watched the game, it just gives me like, oh my God, like what the fuck is happening? And look, I do have a question. My question though is
one more thing.
My question is this: how do you feel about the Justin Simmons going to Atlanta thing after the Saints wined and dined him, and then he still they didn't give him a deal?
It stinks. I mean, look, I think for that one, they can say whatever they want. He said he wanted a multi-year deal. When he gets a 1-year deal, I think that just came down to he thinks he's got a better chance to win in Atlanta because the Saints, he had familiarity. There's 2 coaches on the Saints staff that he's worked with. So you have familiarity there. He gets along pretty well with Tyrann Mathieu. I think he just looked around. They acquired Matthew Judon in a trade. Obviously, they spent a lot of money on Kirk Cousins and drafted a quarterback. So I don't get that part, but I think he just thought he had a better chance to win there. And now he'll get to team up with Jesse Bates. That's going to be a pretty good safety duo. That one stung a lot. Because I thought because I think the Saints defense is going to be really good this year. I think there's going to be games where they might win 13-10. Like that's how good their defense can be. I thought if they added Simmons, you're looking at from a top 10 to 7 unit to a top 5 unit. So that part stings a little bit because I don't love what they have at safety out, opposite of Tyrann. But, that's how I'll leave it. I think that they're not a prime destination for guys right now, even players that haven't signed yet. So that's kind of leave it. I think he liked what he saw in Atlanta better than New Orleans, which sucks because he would have been a missing piece for this unit.
Yeah. So Chris, one more question. Appreciate you taking the time. And by the way, everyone that's watching right now, Chris is going live right after the game. Does a great job, Straight Up Saints, on the Boot Crew Media Network. So he will be live right after the Saints 49ers preseason game. Chris, Saints, 504 fresh. You got to give us a number, but give us a record prediction here for the Saints.
Right now, I'm going to go. I think they're going to go either 7-10 or 8-9. I don't think they're good. Like I saw Kirk Benkert? I forgot which quarterback it was. He used to play. He doesn't play anymore. He thinks they're going to be the worst team in the league. I don't see it. I think their defense is going to be good enough. I think that their opening schedule is really tough though, because all of a sudden you look at it, I think they might start off maybe 2-4 and then really heat up because of that defense later on. A lot of it's going to be on this offense though, in the run game. If the run game is good, maybe they can get to 9-8 again. I don't see any higher than that because I just don't think they have enough playmakers on offense. But I'll probably go 7-10 or 8-9. That's just the way I look at it. I think the defense is going to be great, but they're going to play a lot of good quarterbacks on the schedule. And I don't know if they have the juice to kind of keep up. I mean, early in the season, they're going to have to play Dak, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes. Then you're going to have to play Herbert later on. So Stafford as well. They're going to have to make sure they're up for those games. And I think the key is going to be division. If you can split Atlanta, sweep Carolina, and then split Tampa Bay and at least go 4-2 in that, then I feel a little bit better about where they'd be. But I'll probably go in that 7 to 8 win range. I don't think they're bad enough to be picking top 5 ever, and I don't think they're good enough to make a huge impact this year unless they, spark some type of trade later on. And even then, I don't know if that would do enough for this team.
One more question, one more thing. Shout out Lito. Will Dennis Allen get fired?
I'm gonna go no. I want to say
God.
I want to say yes. They haven't shown that it's playoff or bust for him. Like they've kind of reeled it in. And I think he's going to have the lucky break where the defense is going to play great. And they're going to say, well, if I just had an offense, which has been the thing for the last 3 years, he picked the quarterback he wanted. That hasn't worked. I think Mickey Loomis has been very quiet, and that's fine. Like it's good to be quiet and work in silence, and then everything goes your way. You seem awesome, but I don't know. They haven't really put any pressure on him. I think they'd have to go 5 to 6 wins for them to fire him. Maybe 7 at the most. And that would mean they start off slow. And I don't know. I have to see it to believe it because he should have got fired last year and he didn't. So I don't want to predict that he's going to get fired.
He should have been fired after week 5.
Yeah, I got to the point where we're like, hey, Chris, what's your title for your video? Dennis Allen should be fired. Hey, you used that one for the last 5 weeks. Do you want to change it up, buddy? It's like, no, I'm going to keep it rolling. But I don't think he's going to get fired. I don't. I have this weird feeling that he's going to be here for one more year because they're resetting the cap. And then 2026 is when they could ball out financially and you could just bring in a new coach then, which I'm not advocating for that. I could just see them justifying that plan.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, Chris, thanks for taking the time. And also I want to kind of take care. This is the first time we've all been together on a stream. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Chris, you do such a great job of straight up saying so, man. We really appreciate you taking the time, bro. Make sure you check him out after the game tonight against the 49ers and on Razzle Report on X. So appreciate you, Chris, man.
Thanks, Chris.
Talk to you later, guys. I'm going to check out what you got going on, though, while this game plays.
Later, man.
Peace.
That's crazy. A couple. I mean, obviously, just the whole thing about the coaches, but I gotta rewind to Lito saying that we whined and dined that man, and he didn't even like it. That's tough to wine and dine somebody, and you didn't
even take him home.
Shit,
and went to your rival.
Went
to your rival, bro. You went to your rival.
And then he left before dessert.
Went to your rival.
That's crazy.
That's tough.
I'm just saying.
That's tough. All right, let's get back to the more Zion stuff. All right, last thing that he said that I thought was pretty cool. Ross, start with you here.
It was a great pickup for you all. So I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all able to do. Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Said Dejounte Murray was a real killer.
One more time. One more time.
A real killer.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not taking these questions and answers serious.
What's wrong with you? Why?
I don't. I mean,
why are you the way you are?
Because he's not. There's no depth to the answer. It's just he's just. I don't know. Is it a kid asking the questions or is it an adult?
It's an adult.
Well, yeah, he's just giving him a very surface level answer. I don't. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what to take from the response. It's it's a 2-word answer. Or 3. I don't know. I just don't have a lot for you there.
Ross, how about this? Do you believe Dejounte Murray is a real killer?
Do I think he's
give it a watch.
What, like a killer? No, I think he's a really good basketball player.
No. I mean, I didn't say killer like murderer. I said killer.
Oh, yeah.
On the basketball floor.
Killer.
No, yeah. Look, I think he's good. I think Zion's probably excited to have him on the roster.
real killer.
But like, I don't. I mean,
Ross, but you're not answering the question. Like, is he
You're really not. Is he a dog on the floor? Like, do you think like
I think he's a dog on the floor. I don't think he's a real killer. Like, I don't know how you want to
Okay.
answer. Like,
Ross,
yes, I think he's
Ross.
a very, very good. I think he's a very. I think the whole like
a murderer.
no, because we had the conversation. That was a joke. That was joke. I actually because I don't agree with everybody else on the Murray thing. Like, I'm very happy he's on
This
the
is
team.
crazy, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta stop you. This is actually a fact. Thank you for pointing this out, Matt. Ross has been negative everything besides Derek Carr, which is insane to think
No,
about.
I'm negative on Carr. I just think I think people like. I think people think like get him out of there and put anyone else in, and like it'll like no. Trust me, I watched a lot of NFL last year when quarterbacks got hurt and stuff. There's some piece of shit quarterbacks in the league that you don't want that are far worse than Carr, but he's no good either. No, I'm not negative about Murray at all. I think he's going to be great for the team. I think he does like wonders for a defense that was already very good.
Yep,
I think he stabilizes the backcourt. He's a very good ball handler. He should be able to help initiate things. But like, it seemed like at one point we were talking about like late in the game that the ball should like be in Murray's hands. I think that's fucking asinine. Like, I think that's crazy. You've got Zion Williamson in the best shape of his life, and we're going to sit here and talk about Murray needs to be the guy like doing things. If we need a shot late in the fourth quarter, y'all are nuts. We're crazy. Let Dejounte Murray like. I mean, look, in the right play style and everything else, fine. Okay, if he ends up with a shot, I'm not saying it's a bad outcome, but let's call it what it is. 12 seconds left. We have the ball down 1. If Zion Williamson ain't taking that shot, I'm not happy because I've seen what happens when CJ takes that shot. I've seen what happens when Brandon takes that shot. I've seen what happens when we play isolation basketball and one of the guards ends up taking a shot. To me, it just seems like it's gone a bit too far. Like Murray's not Kobe Bryant or something. He's a very, very good player. He's going to make everyone else around him a little better. But like, when you ask me if he's a real killer, that means like, hey, late in the game.
Yeah.
I just don't think that. I don't. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he's that.
Hey, can I say this? Y'all say killer like that lady from Australia breakdance. Like that's
never compare me to.
That's kind of like
that's disrespectful.
What was her name?
I don't know. That was probably more
Ray Gunn.
That's like one of the more disrespectful things you've ever said, especially on live air. So really appreciate that. All right. Well, I mean,
I said y'all. I didn't just say you.
I'm part. I mean, allegedly we
y'all.
can't.
I mean, there's a clear y'all here.
Yeah, there's clearly just a y'all. Okay, that's fine. Well, it's a good segue here, Chris. So y'all were supposed to do a podcast on Herb Jones and Dejounte Murray. And then I think Lito's. What happened, Lito?
Fucking, I can't say the name of the place, but
why can't you?
Because there's somebody in the room. There's somebody in the room where the power went out. You know, that was a good catch. Actually, that was good right there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Something with the weather. I'm just gonna.
What's going on here?
I can't wait to tell you about this story.
This is crazy.
I can't wait to tell you. All right, so y'all want to do a show on Dejounte and Herb, right? Defensively, being one of the better backcourts defensively coming to the year. Chris, you know, a lot of Hawks fans have talked about Dejounte Murray's, defensive abilities, obviously on the downward spiral. He doesn't play defense, this and that. He got cooked by who was the kid that scored 50 points? Who was that dude from the Pistons?
Oh, Malachi Flynn.
Yeah, go watch the film, guys. Malachi Flynn scored like 6 points against Dejounte Murray. It was the other dude that he absolutely destroyed. But anyways, Chris, do you think that Herb Jones and Dejounte Murray, I don't know what the starting lineup is, but when they're sharing the court, when they're sharing the floor, those two I feel like can shut down a backcourt. And I feel like Dejounte is really going to learn a lot from Herb Jones, especially both being all NBA defensive. They've both been on all NBA defensive teams. Obviously, Herb Jones, the first team all NBA defender. But do you think Dejounte will take a step back, upwards here with Herb Jones as his partner there in the backcourt? Pause.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think like we talked about how shooters have synergy, right? And it's the same for defenders, man. I mean, if Herb can ignite lesser talents, if he can ignite Jonas Valanciunas, if he can ignite, just
CJ McCollum,
different type of lineup, CJ McCollum, then you have to believe that someone of Dejounte's ability that we've already seen, like that's going to be easy. And I think that Dejounte is going to, even if he's not given a role, and I think it'll be tough, to for them to figure that out, especially with how we've seen certain things play out with this roster and organization. But I'm sure he knows how important, one of the biggest reasons that he's there, or that he's in New Orleans, is going to be his impact as a point of attack defender and who they shipped out. You know what I'm saying? In regards to him being on the team. And I think this, like, as good as Dyson was as a point of attack defender, I think Dejounte, when he's locked in, is better because he's simply more athletic. And he's a little bit more like of a jerk. He's a little bit more aggressive, right? And I think that matters. Anything that allows Herb to not have to do everything defensively. Dejounte, even in not being in falling off a little bit, and he pointed at what his coaching staff asked of him. But even with him kind of taking a step back defensively, he still did a really good job of forcing turnovers. So those two guys being able to play off each other defensively, one being at the point of attack and the other one being to play safety or being able to play off and kind of read as things go and rotations and so on and so forth. I mean, I think it's incredible. I don't know how I feel or if I can answer it in regards to a backcourt, but I just think those two being able to play together and helping each other off and on ball, I think, is the most important thing there. Because I don't think Herb has played with anyone like Dejounte defensively just yet. And I damn sure know that Dejounte hasn't played with anyone like Herb.
Right. Yeah, and I'm Chris kind of alluded to it, but you can't understate how difficult it is to play with somebody like Trae Young.
And this is a great point by
like you can't
_monk.
Yeah, like you can't. There is no playing off of Trae Young defensively. Like you're just responsible for two fucking people because he does nothing. Like there's going to be a massive difference between him and Herb guarding the other team's best like wings or guards versus him and Trae. Like it's just a totally different dynamic. It allows you to do more things off the ball, like Chris just said. It's almost not even worth comparing.
So on that topic there, Lito, right? So Dejounte, obviously his backcourt partner was Trae Young, who is very well known for his offense and just not his defense whatsoever. So now you look to your left, you look to your right, it's Herb Jones now. And you see him, shutting down one of the better offensive players on the other team. I feel like that should motivate Dejounte to get back to that all-NBA defensive team.
I mean, you say get back to it, and he had his best. Defensively, his rating was the highest it's ever been last year.
We got the defensive rating. I think is better if it's lower. Is that right? I hate the defensive rating thing because it's very fucking confusing.
It's better if it's lower.
Yes.
This is the thing, though. What I'm saying, the point that I was trying to make is like collectively, his entire career, he's been a 112, right? I think that's been his median average.
Yeah. I think Rudy's like 108.
Yeah, Herb was a 112 last year, just to put that in perspective.
Okay.
So you're not asking the.
I don't mean to stop. Like, does defensive rating, is that just specifically you, or is that specifically you sharing the floor with four other people?
I think it's specifically you.
This is like, this is where numbers lie. This is where just like, I'm just like, okay. Like,
but even with all that being said, Dejounte was top 5 last year in deflections, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number. You're not even looking for Dejounte to be Spurs Dejounte. You just need him to give effort. Herb Jones is going to take care of everything. If he just got a partner,
like CJ McCollum's a perfect example. CJ gives effort.
That's it. You just got if Herb has a partner in chaos, like if this man gonna be top 5 in deflections and let Herb be whatever. I don't know Herb's rating as far as like deflections last year, but what I can tell you is Herb was incredible as far as like defending on the perimeter. I think Herb's 3-point defense percentage was insane. I can't remember the exact number, but if you look at Dejounte's rim defense, it's kind of crazy. So if you got Herb on the perimeter and Dejounte disruption at the rim, like dog, you kind of that's a filthy backcourt.
And also, that's not talked about a lot, right, guys? And whoever wants to go first here, but deflections are a major. Like I think it's a very big category that's not talked about a lot, right? When we look at stats, because deflections, it disrupts your offensive rhythm. Shot clock's winding down. Deflections, like literally, I think if you're a leader and they're both leaders, I mean, Buku's that guy. I need give me the top 5 deflection leaders of 2023 or 2020, 2023, 2024.
Oh, Dejounte had a 101 in 2017.
Defensive rating? Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you get those two guys on the same court, creating chaos, deflections, shutting down. Like, it's going to be a bitch night in and night out to face those two every single night. So I'm interested to see that, right? And so I guess back to you, Chris, is like, do you really believe that Dejounte wants to be first team All NBA defense, like he said in the welcome press conference?
Yeah, I mean, because I think it was all about mentality and him trying to figure out how to play next to Trae Young. Ross kind of explained it really well. Like when he was in San Antonio, he was surrounded by other defensive guys, and that brings, man, like we don't talk enough about how guys in like competitive edge, how it transfers over to the defensive side as well. Like when you see four other players, like in unison, like we saw it with Team USA, guys that you wouldn't necessarily consider to be great defenders. I watched Devin Booker play some of the best defense I've ever seen him play, just simply because of some of the other guys that he was out there and what he was playing next to and what he was asked to do. So it shows that the ability is there. But if you're asking me to score 30 points a night, I might not have the energy to go out there and defend in that same way. I think also being involved with this amount of offensive options is also going to help him, and it's going to help him get back to some of the, his days and the things that worked for him in San Antonio, maybe towards the earlier years, man. But I think simply playing next to Herb is going to help him a lot, man. The competition, like it shows.
So this is what we're gonna do.
Real killer.
Real killer.
Real killer.
Wow. He's not a murderer.
You ever listen to Ghostface Killer?
What?
That's with an H, by the way.
What did you say?
You ever listen to Ghostface Killer?
No.
All right.
Oh, wow.
What is that?
Oh,
what is that? What is that?
Let's hear from.
What is that?
Buying a house is one of the largest financial investments you'll ever make. That's why you need the experience and the support of the Standard Mortgage team. Whether you're looking to purchase, refinance, or consolidate debt through a cash-out refinance loan, Standard Mortgage will help you every step of the way. For the last century, we've grown to 7 locations across Louisiana, but we've always called New Orleans home. While others are busy raising your rates, we're focused on raising the standard. Visit us today at stanmore.com, STANMOR.com. NMLS number 44912, equal housing lender.
Shout out Standard Mortgage.
Shout out.
What is that?
Sorry, I no disrespect. I didn't mean that. So let's get tweet of the week presented to you by Standard Mortgage. Standard Mortgage, your local lender for life. Get in touch with a home loan expert today. Give them a call at 504-569-3902. Comes from B-Ball Index. Leo, we'll start with you. Thought this was an interesting tweet. Dejounte Murray's 3-level scoring in 2024. At the rim, a D-. Mid-range pull-up, an A-. 3-point percentage, a B-. I was actually surprised of the rim field goal percentage being at a D-.
Yeah, all that matters is the 3. That's all that matters.
Really?
Yeah, that's all that matters. Well, it's you got a guy who can score at the rim. Like you
That's a really good point.
He just gotta make the open threes.
Playing too much time with Clint Capella, man.
Wait, stop. No, Wahab. It's Tupac, and Lito can vouch for that. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that also has a lot to do with who he was playing with. I think at best I'd like to see him play, or what was his grade when he played with space, right? I mean, if you're playing with Clint Capella, we've seen it enough. Unless you're Zion, man. I mean, I'd argue that the grades weren't great for a lot of different Pelicans trying to deal with some of the space that they had to deal with, sometimes finishing at the basket. So I'd be curious about that, because I don't think he's a bad finisher really at all. But
I'm sorry, the comments are just killing me, right? I'm literally just seeing all the comments. I'm getting absolutely crushed right now.
Look, man, there's a nice doc on Wu-Tang, man. Like TV show on Hulu.
Yeah, Justin, maybe you
Sit
should
down and watch it, man.
It's kind of like the Friday, bro. Chris hasn't seen Major League or Major League 2, so I don't want to hear anything. You've never seen what?
Is that like a problem for everybody, or just like white people? Like, what would be your movies like for white folks where you like, all right, like you haven't seen that? I can't.
Wedding Crashers would be one. Well, you gotta see Wedding Crashers. Like that's definitely one.
Top 5 greatest movies of all time.
What other? Okay. Yeah, I would say Wedding Crash. I mean, that's like
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers, a good one. Yeah.
Old School.
Ross, do you have one?
Old School.
Come on, Justin. Come on, Justin.
I'm not good on the spot, bro. Like,
I don't know.
That's crazy. That's incredible.
Terry, how can you not like the show? Terry, appreciate the super chat, bro. We'll get to you. I know it won't happen, but what do y'all think of a starting lineup of Murray, Jones, Trey, Zion, insert center, and come off the bench with both CJ and Brandon Ingram, give the team a better lineup synergy?
Appreciate you, Terry.
Ross. We'll go Ross, Lito, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I think I'm on record that if BI's on the team, I think he should come off the bench this year.
Wow, that's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I'm acknowledging that, but I think it's unquestionably the best thing for the team. And so I think if you were trying to maximize time on the court, maximize value, I think Brandon coming off the bench is the smartest play. I actually don't hate CJ coming off the bench in that situation either. Like, I'd be fine with that lineup. I would probably rather, gun to my head, I'd probably still rather CJ starting over Herb. But I'm indifferent. I'd be fine with this. I really would. And I don't think it's I agree. I really do. I think it's shit, you have a hell of a bench.
Lito.
I'm reading the question. I'm sorry. Shout out to Terry.
Yeah, appreciate you, Terry.
This is a good question.
This is a good question.
I think my problem, and this is not to Terry, this is to the Pelicans. My problem in the situation is the insert center part.
Yeah.
Because you still who the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, who we talking about? Like,
it would probably be Tice. It is what it is. It's Tice. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I can't get over it.
The center spot's still an F. It's still an F.
Like, I really do. I'm just for my own mental sanity. I'm trying to come to grips with this notion that Daniel Tice, with the players that we just talked, we're talking about possibly a scenario where CJ McCollum is coming off the bench, where we think either Herb Jones, who was just first team all defense, or Trey Murphy, who's one of the I think one of the most dangerous 3-point threats in the entire league, or Brandon Ingram, who's made an all-star team. Like, two of those players coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And Daniel fucking Tice as the center with that. Like, that to me is disgusting. It's a disgusting failure. It's nothing against Daniel Tice. It really, but I just can't get comfortable with that. Like, how is this the situation that we've put ourselves in? It's crazy.
Ross, you think when Griff go to sleep at night thinking about the center on the roster, he sleeps peacefully? Like, you think
I don't.
He's like, I think I did well.
I don't.
I can't. I don't think he does either.
There's no way. Because there's no way.
There's no way it just
they're just not
he
stupid.
Didn't go into
they're
the
not
offseason.
stupid.
Well, why didn't you do anything then?
But I think he has. I just think he just acted late. It is what it is, man. It
I think
really
he failed.
is.
I don't think
he
this
failed.
was the plan. This wasn't
the
the plan, but he failed.
But bro, all right, I feel you. But I'm saying if I'm looking around the NBA, right? You look at Orlando has 56 centers on their roster. Like you tell them you got all these picks for what? What you doing with them?
Okay, would you give up Jordan Hawkins and a pick for Walker Kessler? You give that up?
Like
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yes.
Okay. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
The lineup. I mean, if it was possible, I think that's probably your. If we're just talking about the four of Zion, Trey, Herb, and Dejounte, that's probably your best collection of
Sure.
four players that I think would be able to kind of thrive against any kind of matchup in any kind of situation. Like that's the four that I'm most excited to see on the floor together, just because of the versatility I think you have offensively and defensively if that group can click. But the problem with that is that it's not realistic. I mean, I can think about it, but it's not realistic to have Brandon and CJ come off the bench. So it's hard for me to even, think about it. It's just not a reality. And I don't see a situation where even if you could convince and you thought it was the best basketball move to put Brandon on the bench, specifically CJ is kind of he's a veteran. He's probably at some point going to have to transition to a 6-man role.
Yep.
After this year. He's an expiring contract. Like I'm not thinking about him as much in this equation with Brandon. I mean, if you are still looking to trade him, if you're still looking to maximize his value, how can you do that with having him come off the bench? I don't see that.
Could you imagine? Like, I want y'all to think about this. Could you imagine a guy that wants $50 million a year? Okay, he's going right. He said it, and saying, "All right, man, you're going to go on the bench. You're going to start." You think he's going to accept that? And it doesn't. You're going to be like, well, "I don't give a fuck." Okay, well, literally, you're going to lose Brandon Ingram for the year. Like he's just going to be literally like he's not going to give a baker's fuck.
But if
about playing basketball for the
you think
Pelicans.
so?
Yes,
you think a guy in a contract year
Ross,
whose value has
yeah.
never been
I saw
lower.
a guy in a playing game pout because he wasn't in the game.
But I don't think he has that luxury this year. Like he literally is playing for his money now because it's a very real scenario. In our group, there are some of us who say, "Oh no, somebody's going to pay him no matter what." I don't believe that to be true. I think he could find himself in a situation of 2 years, $50 million, like whatever Tobias Harris just got or something like that. He'd go have another terrible year, look bad, look 2 steps slow, clanking a bunch of mid-range. Like, no, like there is a very real scenario where he does not get paid by somebody. And so I don't think I don't think he can just mail it in this year. I really don't. I don't think he can just quit.
I just don't think he'll accept it. I really just don't think he'll accept it.
I don't think he will either. I mean,
I don't think he'll accept it.
He'll just think I want to be traded then.
Well, that's awesome. Like he wants to. Like
well, then you're going to lose.
That's already been tried. Like we're trying. Nobody wants you.
There's also that too.
It's a really interesting situation, and
I don't think nobody wants him, man. I just think the circumstances
crazy.
Around getting him.
He's a good basketball player. He's a good basketball player.
Nobody wants you in your current situation. Like we could put all the caveats around it you want. Nobody wants you in your current situation. And I think if nobody wants you in your current situation, they're not going to want you in a situation where they've got to give you $20 million more a year than you're getting.
You know what though? I also think he has the wrong person making the final decision that's kind of representing him. I'm not talking about his agent, but in David Griffin, to where Griff, we've talked about this. Griff isn't going to take like a loss or what is perceived as a short-term loss right away. So that doesn't help a guy like Brandon either. No. Because I don't know. Like I hear what you're saying, Ross, but am I 100% sure that the Pelicans haven't been sent a deal for Brandon that we all would agree to for whatever the case is, but Griff won't say yes to it because of what he feels is a win or not?
Chris, I honestly think he just hasn't gotten any. I hear you. It goes back to what Lito said. Like Griff knows the starting center position, and just in the center position group in whole is bad. It's bad. It's the worst center position in the NBA, hands down. It's not even close. You know he's been trying to move Brandon Ingram. He just literally, I think every deal that's been thrown at him is really, really bad. It's got to be.
Does it?
You don't think that? You really don't think that?
You mean I don't have enough faith in David Griffin to be able to say that in one way or another.
That's also fair. That's fair. All right, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna play one more commercial. And we're gonna get to fan comments, and we're gonna get out of here. Then Chris Rosgood will probably go live right. Not probably. He's definitely gonna go live right after us. So let's hear from Company Burger. Company Burger is the official burger of Pro Pels Talk and Boot Crew Media. Located at 4600 Ferret Street, Company Burger has been locally owned and operated for 11 years. Grind the meat, bake the buns, make the mayo, get the homemade tots. Company Burger uses Creekstone Farms prime beef to create the best burger in the city with milkshakes to go and a full bar. Company Burger is open every day besides Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Can't make it out? No worries, we have you covered. You can order online right now at thecompanyburger.com or check them out on the Toast or Uber Eats app. Company Burger, the official burger of Boot Crew Media. God. Shut up, Company Burger, bro. All right, let's get the fan questions. Our MA 150 people in during a Saints game is pretty crazy. So appreciate y'all. Make sure you smash the like button. Gosh, shout out Malik, man. Appreciate you a member for 4 months. Really, really appreciate that. Off topic story, but who had the better post game, Al Jefferson or Zach Randolph?
Al.
Yeah.
Al.
Zach was more face up. Like he had a more
more of a bully. Al.
Yeah.
Zach was definitely he was definitely a Jim Crow type, pre-athleticism.
So, okay, let's get to fan questions. So if y'all want to ask questions to the panel, we got about like 10 or 15 more minutes left. I'll bring up your comment and have them answer it. So let's go with Scott. Ross, how much do you guys think Zion weighs from that picture? I'm thinking he's talking about
the
yeah, let me bring it here.
I don't know. I'd like if his pop said he weighed 280. I'm gonna say he weighs 280. I don't feel real comfortable.
This has been a hard topic to talk about. But they got questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they weigh.
I think it's about 280. I would say 280.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Chris, it's a great question for you because you went on record a couple weeks ago. Well, not even a couple weeks ago, a week ago. Still stand by it?
Yeah.
Even without a center?
Yeah.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph, top 5 headband in NBA history.
Yes.
By the way.
Lead up from Scotty. Could the backcourt of Herb and Murray lock down Dallas of Kyrie and Luka?
No.
Could they contain them?
No.
I disagree.
What do you consider containing? Like it's
holding one of them under their average. Be containing it probably.
Holding one. So one go get 40 and one go get 20.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with it.
Still 60 points in the back. I'm saying like,
yeah, I still don't think okay. Herb's on Luka?
No.
Who's guarded Luka? Dejounte?
I think so. I don't think Herb does it. I think as an on ball defender, Dejounte is probably better than Herb. I think Herb would be better being more of a free safety in that scenario. Neither one can guard either one. It doesn't really matter.
I kind of disagree.
Talk to me. Let's talk through it.
Well, I think Herb and DeJounte have length. Pause. And I think that disrupts Kyrie a lot.
Really?
I do.
When you say a lot, like how much we talking?
Kyrie's an exceptional, one of the best I've ever seen in my entire life.
At what?
Scoring basketball. I think when you're on offense, Lito, what bothers you the most? When a defender's got what bothers you most?
I mean,
to me, I would say length bothers me the most.
I don't think that bothers Kyrie. I don't think that would bother Kyrie because Kyrie has so many ways to score.
I understand that.
Dog, he shot a left-handed hook shot over Nikola Jokic.
I'm talking about containing. I'm not talking about stop.
No,
No
I
one's
know.
stopping that guy.
No. I know, but I'm saying
I'm just talking about simply contain. Just miss a couple shots, get him
Sure.
out of rhythm, couple turnovers. Do you think and you turn over the ball because of length? You miss shots because of length.
Sure.
This Herb Jones and Dejounte Murray, like literally, are length.
I think in that scenario for me, if I'm the Pelicans and I'm playing Dallas, you gotta make the others gotta beat you.
I can't talk basketball because all these motherfuckers are like, hey, yo, see, Jared at least gives you a little respect with foot on the line. But I mean, like length. What do you want me to say? What better words could I possibly say?
You could have just said like,
Affects the shot more.
There you go.
But like that's just lame. Just length, lanky.
But you keep saying it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it.
I know, but like you said the better version of it, and then you immediately
It's like
retroactively.
it's like when someone says I can't drink wine on the show, and I still drink wine because it's our show.
Hey,
isn't that something, right?
That's crazy.
Last year, Kyrie against us in 4-game averaged 32, 5, 32, 5, and 7, 50% from the field, 45% from deep.
It's not bad.
Luka, no, not bad.
You got it right where we want him.
Luka in 2 games averaged 23, 3, and 6, 47% from the field, 50% from deep.
What was it?
Luka averaged 23 and on very good percent. I'm sorry. Yeah. Luka averaged 20.
Timeout. Kyrie played the Pelicans. Literally nobody was playing. Right?
Okay. I don't know that. Yeah. There's probably context.
That was the ML. Was that? No, that one. Jared, help me out here. Was that the game before the MLK game or was that the ML? Because Luka was out the night before. That's when Hawkins went off and won us the game. He outdueled Kyrie the day before. That's what happened. So there was no. It still doesn't matter.
Yeah. So can I say
there
something?
weren't a lot of people playing that night, by the way. Yes, Chris.
I think it's disrespectful to Kyrie and Luka to say anybody can lock them down or even contain them. I think it's disrespectful to say that even because number one, yeah, but they did it as a team. It wasn't two players.
Well, of course, Chris. There's going to be 4 other players on the court, obviously.
But that was the question. The question was, do you think Dejounte and Herb can contain Luka and Kyrie? And I would say no. Herb is incredible, and I watched Luka drop 50 points on him in 3 quarters.
Right.
Like, I mean, just part of this is also the game that we play in as well. Like they don't like what are we doing, man?
Yeah, I mean, on any given night, they can make it difficult on those guys, on Luka and Kyrie, and they could have an off shooting night. And on any given night, those dudes could each get 40.
Like, I get what you're saying. But defense like matters worse. Like it matters less and less in today's NBA that we play.
Oh, Saints interception. Okay, I mean, look, I don't think whatever. I mean, I just got y'all disagree with me. I don't know what to say. It's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's heated or even spirited. I just don't think that they can like contain. No, I just don't think that they can.
Okay, that's fair. Chris, would it be disrespectful if Zion wins most improved and we are the 6th seed?
How is that? How is that possible?
I think he's disrespectful.
What? How is it possible that Zion was most improved?
Oh, I think
it's most improved in the NBA.
Yeah, I think if Zion comes out and averages 32 or 30, if he makes a jump like Shea made when Shea went from Shea may have won most improved that year. Actually, the year he went from 23 or 24 up to 32. 2 years ago. Let me try and look it up. Yeah, I think if he makes a jump where he scores he goes from what he averaged last year in 65 games to this year averages 31, 6, and 6 and plays 70-something games, I think he could easily win it. I mean, now whether you think he's capable of doing that is a totally separate question, but I don't think it's out of the question at all for him to win like most improved.
Yeah, I don't see it being a way possible with this. Like the whole, you need like 3 guys to be hurt and him to. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, but to answer the question, I guess I will answer the question. Would it be disrespectful? No. No. If there's no scenario where the Pelicans win any type of individual award and they're not in a play-in, there's nothing about that that's disrespectful. Like if I'll just take them
would be very
being in the 6th
respectful.
seed alone.
It would be the opposite.
It would be the opposite. Them being the 6th seed alone is respectful.
Bro,
I mean,
that was my I'm like, yo, do we know who the Pelicans are?
Yeah.
Disrespectful.
We
The
celebrate.
6th seed.
Don't want a fucking parade.
Hang the banner,
No,
right? Lito?
but-
Shit, we need more banners.
I'm trying to win
This
an
week.
in-season tournament. Like,
But look, Chris, it was 3 years ago. Shea averaged 24, 5 and 6, which is actually pretty similar to what Zion averaged last year. The next year he averaged 31, 5 and 6. So basically, pretty similar stats, except he took his points up 6 or 7 or 8 points, and that year he finished second in most improved. So he was like very much in the. I don't know who won it, but
who won it? Right. Like who won it?
Yeah, I can tell you right now. Embiid won it. No, he did not win it.
I'm like,
No, I'm wrong category. Give me a second.
Where's Buku's that guy?
Markkanen won it.
there you go. Yeah.
So it's tough.
Okay. I got you.
All right. Lito, is there shout out Matt Tyler? Is there a realistic trade in y'all's opinion that would make us undoubtedly a top 6 seed?
oh,
That's a really good question.
that is a really good question. It's gonna have to be for a center. Jared Allen.
Not getting Jared.
How do we know that though? Because they signed him to a contract. I'm saying like.
Well, I mean, he's not trading until January, right? Or February. Is that right? He can't be traded until February because he signed the extension. He has a relationship with Kenny Atkinson. Clearly, Donovan Mitchell likes him. They just paid Donovan Mitchell. Like, you're gonna just trade him 6 months?
I mean, I'm
Less than that.
He asked me what would make us a 6th seed.
I think there's a bunch of trades that could undoubtedly make us top 6 seed. You're like right on the cusp. You're in that like 6 to 8 range right now. If the Brook Lopez thing like reappears, that's a great option. Like does Boston at some point I think they've got like 200+ million on the payroll for like the next 4 years. Does Boston want to get out of that last year of Porzingis? Like there's a million trades. Like, yeah, I mean, like even the Detroit trade.
How you feel about Wendell Carter?
I don't know that he makes you undoubted. I mean, he's a fine player. I don't think he undoubtedly makes you a top 6 seed. I think he's like an upgrade over what you have. But I don't know that I would say he like jumps you ahead of, the teams that I currently would have above us.
What about the trade you texted us? Was it yesterday where you said you got like Christian Wood, you got Robert Williams and somebody else? Like Robert Williams, as Lito said a couple weeks ago, was like dead.
I just don't try. I don't have any
faith. Bears.
Yeah, that was I think somebody at Bleacher Reported put one together. I don't know. I don't have enough faith that Robert Williams is like healthy.
Yeah,
or ever going to be healthy.
Well, but is there another center? Is there another center? You said no to Jared Allen, but
I didn't say no to Jared Allen. I just don't think it's gonna like real. He said realistically. I don't think it's realistic.
I truly think this is going to be a down year for the Clippers. I think it's some
Zubac would be interesting.
I think there's a possible deal there that frees them up money in the future. Like Zubac isn't part of their long-term like plan. Like Brook Lopez was apparently on the block earlier in the offseason. I think that's a great option. Detroit is one of those teams that has like 4 centers on the roster. Same with Utah. I take either one of those. I think Brooklyn is going to I think that Nick Claxton thing was just to sort of keep him on the roster to trade him later type situation.
Well, his money, dog.
He's not making that much money.
Nick Claxton?
I think his deal like de-escalates the whole time. It's like $26 million this year, 24, 22, and 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it ramps down over 4 years. And even still, like, all right, whatever, you pay him $26 million this year and 24 net. Like that's the market for a starting center.
So what about like Sengun? Like they haven't extended him on his rookie deal.
I just don't think I don't
You're gonna
for
need
what
to
you'd
give
have
up.
to give up to get him. I don't think you. First off, I don't think they would trade him to you. And I don't think they're not going to want Brandon. It's too big of a trade. I think there's 1 year.
Can I throw a name out there?
Absolutely.
Why you raise your hand?
Kevon Looney.
I just don't know that he jumps you to a top, like a no doubt. To answer the
You
question,
see a starting center, right? You mentioned all the talent.
I don't know if just getting a starting center though, because I don't personally see Looney as like one of the 30 best centers in the NBA. So it's like now you start to talk about like what defines a starting center. I mean, look, Looney would be again upgrade over what you have, but does he jump you ahead of Dallas? Does he jump you ahead of Denver? Does he jump you ahead? See where I'm good? Like I don't know that he bumps you, like catapults
Kind of
you.
disagree. I think
Let's talk about it.
Well, I think Looney's a rim protector.
Let's
Right?
talk about it.
Is Looney a rim protector or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Can he affect shots to the rim at all?
I think he's deterrent before the shots get to the rim.
Is he a guy that can rebound the basketball?
Absolutely.
Is he a guy that set solid screens?
Absolutely.
Great screener. I think
Is he a high IQ guy?
Sure.
Never met him, but maybe.
Is he a world champion?
Absolutely.
A lot of guys on that roster that can claim they're a
That's
world champion.
Not on our roster.
I'm
I'm just saying.
theirs.
Yeah, of course, on theirs. But he's literally been the starting center for that team for 2 out of 3 that they won. I'm look once again. I'm looking for 15, 20 minutes a night. Can
That's fair. That's
Kevon
fair.
Looney
That's fair.
star in 15 or 20 minutes a night? And you
No,
think
he
he'd be
can't.
cheap?
He can't star in 15, 20 minutes a night.
You don't think so?
Can he be capable? Maybe. I think he's also a guy that has had some injury history.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know.
still
Like
in
Mark Williams.
Mark Williams,
Justin,
Charlotte.
you don't see Mark Williams. as well?
Charlotte.
There you go.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on.
It was a fair
all right?
question. It was a fair.
Shout out Chaz. The only reason
Yeah,
why I knew
I was
that.
like, don't
That's the
try to
only
make it
reason why I
seem
knew
like-
that because of that guy. Try the other side. Is to his question though. Like we keep mentioning, right? So to Matt's question, we keep mentioning only centers. Are there other players y'all think that realistically the Pelicans could get? Chris, we'll start with you. Like that the Pelicans could get to like take that next step. Like because we talk centers and that like.
So they would have to swap Brandon for a center that's I guess equivalent in talent or surpasses BI in impact. And if we're talking players, I mean we back to talking the same people. We're talking Miles Turner, like somebody like that.
Low.
You know,
Miles Turner's like,
but I can't. I mean, other than that, I don't know because I don't believe that center is going to be. I think that they need to address it at some point. They should have addressed it in the offseason. That they're top heavy as fuck, and they are gonna need to address it again at the trade deadline. But I don't believe that when we're 20 games in, regardless of what their record is, I don't think we're going to be pointing at the center position for either why they are successful or they're failing.
I disagree in the second part because I think if they fail, they don't rebound the basketball.
They didn't rebound the basketball when they had a center.
But
they were closing games with Larry
that center
Nance.
was
Justin.
rebounding though. That center was rebounding though. It's just the team wasn't rebounding.
Justin, when the games matter and the games were closed, and you were talking about them in clutch.
JB wasn't on the floor.
JB wasn't even in the fucking game. So if
he didn't even start the second half, he didn't start the second half.
I gotta push back on that because even though he wasn't closing, he was playing a lot of the minutes pre-closing. And so like you still have to rebound in those other minutes. There's still things that were happening. And yeah, like a lot of times in those last handful of minutes, you're putting your best 5 guys out there and just and kind of, saying this out, we're going to play to our strength or whatever. But that doesn't change that there's still like 40-ish other minutes where you need you need another, like you need someone to compete with all of the other centers in the Western Conference, and we don't have that. So like, I hear you. I do. And I don't necessarily disagree with you, but you can't discount that. Like, yeah, when Jonas was in there, we were rebounding like crazy though.
I mean, I'm not Jonas was rebounding like crazy. But how impactful was that? How many games did we leave where the Pelicans won and they were dominating and we were like, you know what? Jonas is when Jonas was playing, we were still upset about their lack of rebounding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There were games in which they won, even when Jonas, we were saying, man, they got to rebound better. So if you're telling me that Jonas is leaving, like I don't think it can be both ways. We've talked about rebounding being more than just on one player. We talked about it being a team issue. It being them. I watched them not grab rebounds, not because the guy wasn't capable. I watched them not grab rebounds because they just one guy wanted the rebound on the opposite team more than them, or they didn't box out. They didn't do those things. To me, Jonas doesn't, or a center that we're talking about doesn't solve that issue, and it doesn't make it any worse. I think their problems are going to, or their solutions are going to start with how are they going to be able to make this weird ass fit that they have right now be a problem offensively, and how are they going to close games, manage minutes, and manage lineup. I think that's going to be way more important to me than who's playing center from night to night. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But that's how I see it right now. Them figuring out Dejounte and all this, and who's coming off the bench and all that shit. That surpasses who the fuck's playing center right now.
I disagree. I mean, I do understand the point you're making. I don't think you can disconnect the two, because what's going to happen is, because the center that we're going to have out there is so lackluster and worthless, it's going to make everyone else look worse. So like we are, no, Chris is right. We're not going to blame Tice, or we're not going to blame whoever else is out there. We're going to blame the other people. But in reality, you're going to be playing 4-on-5 a lot of times, and it's going to make everyone else look worse, because you're not maximizing their capabilities. You're not maximizing spacing. You're not maximizing talent. You're not doing all of those things. So yeah, you're right. Like, we're going to blame the other people because they're paid more money and they're the focus, and Zion's a superstar and all this other stuff. They're going to get the blame. But this other person, you can only play 5 guys, but we're going to be basically playing 4 a lot of nights, because they're not going to guard Daniel Tice. So you're going to have the other team's tallest, most impactful defender a lot of times at the rim just standing there. So it's going to make guys like Zion's life more difficult. And that, I guess that's where I slightly disagree with the point you're making, that it just doesn't, like, that it kind of doesn't matter to a certain degree, because I think it does make a huge difference.
Shout out to Cantor for Jay Huff will be the second best center on this team right now. Hands up, don't shoot.
2 more questions. That was a really good back and forth.
That's
pause.
Crazy.
I paused it. That was a good conversation. Vaughn.
See how easy that you saw how simple that was?
I just get excited. I was excited. I was like, it was a good conversation.
I was. Where's the hey yo?
Man.
Somebody run the hey yo.
I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh. Fucking love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This is for you.
It's for you. Vaughn, why can't Chris left the show? Presented by Company Burger. Vaughn Walker, why can't Trey Murphy play center?
Why can't he play point guard?
Yeah, Vaughn, one, like, he's just not strong enough. 2, he's not a center. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I don't want Trey Murphy playing center. I just don't. I don't want Brandon Ingram playing center. I don't want, like, the only person I'd really want to play center is Zion Williamson, because it makes, like, but Trey Murphy is not, like, he is not going to last 82 games if he's playing 5 to 10 minutes a night at center position. He's not lasting 82.
You just can't put.
You just can't do it. Like, I get it. He's really tall, and like everyone says he's tall, so he should rebound. It's like, no, it's not that. Like, there's different. Like, there's angles. There's positioning. Is he strong enough to hold this guy up? Like, it's just a lot, man. It's a lot. So
there's angles. There's positioning. Is he strong enough to hold this guy?
I wasn't trying to say that.
What on earth is going on over here?
Next question.
Is he drinking wine?
Huh?
Yeah,
is it the wine? Is he drinking wine?
He's drinking.
Nev having a retirement.
I would kick open the door all along. $100 and I would chop that motherfucking desk in half. Yeah!
We'll end it with this, Wahab. Make sure Chris Ross will be going live right after the Saints game. Smash that like button. Everybody answer this question. We'll get out of here. Leo, you can't bring CJ off the bench.
I mean,
well, it's not a question, more of a comment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I understand that. Somebody gonna have to come off the bench, right? Like you gonna have to bring somebody off the bench. It's not gonna be Brandon. I can tell you that. So CJ is probably it's either gonna be CJ or Herb. It's either gonna be CJ or Herb. Like I don't see.
This is what's crazy about that. Like it's not a bad it's a really actual. It's a reality, like a realistic thought. You're gonna either bench a guy just made first team All NBA defense and shot 41% from deep, or you're going to bench a guy who changed his entire shot profile, has been available most of the last 3 years he's played, and shot 43%, which was 5th in the NBA.
Unless you start Zion at center.
What if you start Zion at center?
I mean, I don't think it's gonna work.
Wait, what if you start Zion at center? Who's coming off? Who's the guy coming off the bench? Say it. You know who it is.
Oh, tell me what you think.
So if it's Zion, no. Your lineup would be Dejounte, CJ, Herb, Brandon, Zion. How do you think that makes Trey Murphy feel?
I'm not sure it wouldn't be Herb for me.
It's Herb. Like I don't like
Herb.
It's the answer. Like the question is like, yes, you can bring CJ. Like
why is it Herb?
You can bring CJ off the bench, but they won't because Herb one is gonna make the least noise about having to come off the bench, and two, like it seems like he's the logical person that would, right? Like I mean, Caruso, the year he made first team all defense was coming off the bench.
Chris said there's another player, Chris, that you said
like it's
that
not,
came off the bench and
like he's gonna come off the bench and play 30 minutes. Like it's not. It's just not that big a deal to me.
Chris, who's the other player you said that was, or maybe it was 5? Maybe Jarrett said it. So there was another player that was like he was all NBA defense and came off the bench as well. Not Caruso. Maybe
I think Matisse. I think he's talking about Matisse.
the Thibault?
Yeah.
That might have been it. 5, if you're still here, confirm that. Chris, what are your thoughts on can't bring CJ off the bench?
Sure, you can. I mean, why can't you? I don't. If we're talking like again, if we are talking, I mean, there's two sides to it. CJ spacing, and we just talking basketball. We're not talking politics. We're not talking anything else. So if we just talking basketball, CJ spacing, his ability to create, and what the newest additions, and maybe how Dejounte simply can help him. What CJ being more off ball, more and more, I think could definitely help, and that's a reason to keep him there. But if we're talking like where the game is right now, and we're talking about adding more flexibility to your lineups and more switchability defensively, and being able to have multiple guys out there 6'7", 6'8", and specifically in your backcourt, then yeah. And I mean, again, like you got to ask, like the CJ's not going to be here in 3 years. He's not going to be in New Orleans in 5 years. Like who are you committing to? Who's the core going forward? And at some point, CJ's going to have to answer this question. It won't happen, but if the organization decided this was the year that we're going to start this transition, what's CJ going to say? No? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and who knows? Like, I mean, I think, it's tough with him being expiring next year. He's trying to get as much money as possible, for more than likely his last deal. But at some point, he's going to have to answer this question. If he's going to be on a winning basketball team, CJ, that Jason Terry kind of thing. Like, I think Jason Terry is the perfect kind of, person or individual that he should be mirroring the rest of his career afterwards. It could work. He's still going to play 30 minutes a game. He's still more likely going to have an opportunity to close games. It's not necessarily a demotion, just what's best for the team and where his career is going to have to go at some point anyway. Yeah.
That's a really good point, Chris. So make sure to smash the like button. Let's go 5 seconds with Lido.
Audio
Yo, you know what? The NFL is crazy. First of all, what the hell is this new kickoff system? This shit is trash. Like, we playing a violent game, dog. We playing flag. Is it flag football now? What are we doing? Like, is this bring back CTE? Make the NFL great again. Like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't like this. Yo, check this out. Football the only sport where grown men get paid to tackle each other. They're guys who are hitting other grown men. They're tackling them as aggressively as they possibly can, right? All right, you don't get a flag for that. But if I score a touchdown, yeah, it's crazy, I know, but I'm not gonna pause it. But if I score a touchdown and I celebrate a little bit too much, you throw a flag. I could pile drive this motherfucker into the ground.
Yep.
I could literally throw this man out of bounds. It's not gonna be a flag. But if I dance after I score a touchdown, you're gonna throw a flag on me. What are we doing? Like, what is happening? I don't understand. Like, I'm getting paid. I'm a 305-pound grown man. I'm getting paid to sack a quarterback. I'm gonna throw this man into the ground. But if I get up and dance after, oh no, that's too much. That's too much. You've done too much.
The comments.
Hey, it's no other way to describe tackling the grown man, coach. I'm sorry. Grown men get tackled. They got pads on, they get tackled. I don't know how else to. You got to blame football.
No.
Blame football, man.
Fuck that.
I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank Coach Harbaugh. Fucking love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This is for you.
Hey, for real.
After his text, we cannot allow this anymore.
During a Saints game, over 180 people in the room, man. Y'all the best, for real. Smash the like button. We'll see y'all. Oh, damn, Chris. I'm sorry. See y'all later this week. Smash that like button. And I guess we'll be back next Sunday, unless we do a show or something happens this week. All right, guys. And then Chris Roscoe going live right after the Saints game. See y'all later.
Shout out to 5, man.
Shout out 5.
Happy birthday, 5,
Happy birthday.